There's a corner of Britain where you can walk above turquoise water in the morning, explore a medieval walled town before lunch, sail towards an island alive with seabirds in the afternoon, and finish the day beside a harbour that looks almost too perfect to be real. And somehow, many visitors to Britain completely miss it. This is Pembrokeshire. But the beaches are only the beginning. Over the next 7 days, we'll follow one of Britain's most extraordinary coastlines, through medieval castles, tiny villages, ancient religious sites, wildlife-rich islands, and stretches of coast where the Atlantic has been shaping the landscape for millions of years.
Along the way, we'll also share fascinating local stories, Welsh food worth trying, practical travel advice and accommodation ideas to help you plan your own Pembrokeshire holiday. And where there are genuinely worthwhile Get Your Guide experiences, we'll point you towards them, with verified links in the description.
Our journey begins among the pastel-coloured houses surrounding Tenby Harbour. Fishing boats rise and fall with the tide beneath a townscape that almost looks Mediterranean on a bright summer morning. But Tenby's story goes far deeper than its beaches. Walk uphill from the harbour, and sections of the medieval town walls still surround streets once protected as a fortified Welsh port. By the 19th century, Tenby had reinvented itself as a fashionable seaside resort, attracting visitors who came for sea bathing, fresh coastal air and scenery. Today, those same ingredients still work remarkably well. Start around the harbour before walking towards Castle Beach, where low tide can reveal a broad sweep of sand beneath Castle Hill. Then cross town towards North Beach for one of Tenby's classic views. Golden sand, colourful houses, and Goscar rock rising from the shoreline. The centre itself deserves time too. Cars disappear from many of the busiest streets during daytime summer pedestrianisation, leaving you free to explore independent shops, small galleries and cafes tucked between historic buildings. But don't leave when everyone else does. As evening arrives and day trippers begin disappearing, return to the harbour. The streets become quieter, fishing boats settle beneath the fading light, and Tenby suddenly feels less like a resort and more like the old coastal town underneath.
Tenby's surviving medieval walls date largely from the 13th century, when the town became an important fortified settlement. For lunch, locally landed seafood is an obvious choice. Fish and chips typically costs around £12 to £18, while a cafe serving Welsh cakes and tea might cost around £6 to £10. Central Tenby is best explored on foot. Parking outside the historic centre and walking in is usually far easier than trying to navigate its narrow streets. Guest houses can start around £90 per night, with boutique and comfortable seafront hotels commonly ranging from around £130 to £200 depending on season.
This morning we follow the coast north to Saundersfoot. The atmosphere is gentler than Tenby. A working harbour, broad sandy beach and compact village centre where cafes sit within minutes of the shoreline. Start around the harbour, then put on your walking shoes. Because today introduces something that will accompany us for much of this journey. The Pembrokeshire Coast Path. Opened in 1970, the National Trail follows roughly 186 miles of coastline between Amroth and St Dogmaels. But the impressive part isn't simply its length, it's how frequently the landscape changes. A stretch above open sea can suddenly descend into a sheltered cove. Sandy beaches give way to rugged cliffs. And just when the coast begins to feel completely wild, another tiny settlement appears. You don't need to walk all 186 miles. Choose a manageable section from Saundersfoot and experience the trail slowly, stopping at viewpoints rather than treating it as a race. Back in the village, spend the afternoon around the beach and harbour before finding somewhere serving locally caught seafood. This is one of the pleasures of a Pembrokeshire coast holiday. Walking and eating aren't separate activities. The landscape often leads you directly to lunch.
Pembrokeshire Coast National Park is unusual because it was designated primarily for its coastline rather than a vast mountain or inland wilderness. Try local crab or mussels when available. A seafood lunch will generally cost around £15 to £25. The coast path contains frequent climbs and descents, so distance alone can be misleading. Check elevation as well as mileage before choosing your route. Saundersfoot has everything from small guest houses to comfortable coastal hotels, with rooms often starting around £100 outside the busiest summer dates.
Day 3 begins away from the busy resorts at Stackpole Estate. Follow the paths around Bosheston Lakes, a network of freshwater lakes famous for their water lilies and wildlife. The walking is peaceful, but today's real destination remains hidden. Continue towards the coast and the landscape gradually opens. There are no beachfront hotels waiting ahead, no promenade, no road delivering you directly onto the sand. Instead, Barrafundle makes you work for the reveal. From Stackpole Quay, it's roughly half a mile on foot, including uneven ground and steps. Then, almost without warning, the coastline opens beneath you. A sweep of pale sand sits between wooded cliffs, with clear water rolling gently towards shore. Barrafundle Bay regularly appears on lists of Britain's finest beaches, but its isolation is part of the reason it retains its character. Bring water, suitable footwear, and whatever you'll need for your visit, because this isn't a beach built around convenience. That's precisely the point. Spend time on the sand, then continue along the surrounding coast if conditions allow. The higher you climb, the clearer the geography becomes, cliffs protecting small bays while the Atlantic stretches beyond them.
The Stackpole Estate is managed by the National Trust and includes woodland, lakes, cliffs and beaches within a surprisingly compact area. Bring a picnic or eat around Stackpole Quay before the walk. You won't find a line of cafes waiting when you reach Barrafundle. Walking shoes are preferable to flip-flops because the route includes steps and uneven surfaces. Carry water and take everything you bring onto the beach back out with you. For accommodation, nearby villages and countryside inns offer quieter alternatives to Tenby, generally from around £100 to £180 per night.
Today we're travelling to a place with city status, but fewer residents than many British villages. St David's is Britain's smallest city by population. And the reason isn't skyscrapers, commerce, or size. It's the cathedral. For centuries, this remote corner of Wales has been associated with St David, the patron saint of Wales, who established a religious community here during the early medieval period. Begin at St David's Cathedral. Rather than dominating a modern skyline, the cathedral sits surprisingly low within a valley, almost hidden until you approach it. Across the river stand the atmospheric ruins of the medieval bishop's palace, evidence of how important this seemingly tiny settlement once became. Afterwards, wander back through St David's itself. Independent galleries, outdoor shops and small cafes fill the compact centre, making it easy to explore without a car. Then head towards the nearby coastline. Within minutes, the city disappears and Pembrokeshire's cliffs return. That contrast is what makes St David's special. You can spend the morning surrounded by centuries of Welsh religious history, and the afternoon walking above some of Britain's wildest coastal scenery.
Medieval pilgrims were once told that 2 pilgrimages to St David's were equivalent to 1 journey to Rome, a remarkable indication of its religious importance. Try Welsh rarebit or call if you find them on a local menu. Lunch in St David's typically costs around £12 to £25. Allow more time than the city's size suggests. The cathedral, Bishop's Palace and surrounding coastline can comfortably fill an entire day. You'll find guest houses and small hotels in the city, while countryside properties around the peninsula offer quieter stays, usually from around £100 to £200 per night.
This morning begins at the water's edge. From the Pembrokeshire coast, a small boat carries visitors towards an island where humans are very much the guests. As the mainland falls behind, Skomer slowly takes shape ahead. And then you start watching the sky. Perhaps the first movement is only a silhouette above the cliffs. Then another, and another. During the breeding season, Skomer becomes one of Britain's great seabird spectacles. Puffins are the stars for many visitors, but the island also supports huge numbers of other seabirds, while grey seals can often be found around the surrounding waters and shoreline. Nothing should be treated as guaranteed. This is wildlife, not a performance. And that's what makes an encounter meaningful. Once ashore, walking trails lead across an island managed carefully for conservation. Visitors need to stay on designated routes, not simply for their own safety, but because birds can nest astonishingly close to the paths. Skomer's importance extends beyond what you can photograph. The island provides protected breeding habitat and allows researchers to monitor populations that face pressures far beyond Pembrokeshire. By the time the return boat appears, you may find that one of the most memorable days of the entire Wales road trip involved doing very little beyond walking, waiting and watching.
Skomer supports internationally important seabird populations, and its puffins are most associated with the spring and early summer breeding season. Boat and landing arrangements are seasonal, capacity is limited, and sailings can be affected by weather. Check current arrangements before traveling and book ahead when required. Wear sturdy footwear and bring layers, water and sun protection. Conditions on an exposed island can change quickly. And remember, wildlife sightings can never be promised.
Yesterday belonged to wildlife. Today begins behind enormous medieval stone walls. Pembroke Castle rises above the river on a site shaped by nearly 1,000 years of conflict and power. Explore its towers, passageways and battlements before climbing higher for views across the surrounding town. But one historical connection gives Pembroke Castle particular significance. In 1457, Henry Tudor was born here. 28 years later, after defeating Richard III at Bosworth, he became King Henry VII and founded the Tudor dynasty. From royal history, we head west, and the mood changes almost immediately. Freshwater West is exposed, powerful and unmistakably Atlantic. There are no pastel harbour houses here. Instead, dunes rise behind a broad beach, while powerful waves have made the area one of Wales's best-known surfing locations. Film fans may recognise the landscape too. Freshwater West appeared in productions, including Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows and Robin Hood. But the real attraction doesn't need a film connection. Walk along the shore or follow the surrounding coast, and you'll experience Pembrokeshire at its wildest. Wind, waves and open horizons replacing the sheltered towns of earlier in the week. Few days demonstrate the county's range better than this one. A medieval birthplace of kings in the morning. The raw Atlantic by afternoon.
Pembroke Castle is one of Britain's most impressive Norman fortresses, and the natural cavern beneath the castle adds another unexpected layer to the site. Around the coast, look for locally caught fish, crab and seasonal seafood. A good pub or restaurant meal typically costs around £18 to £30. Freshwater West is exposed to Atlantic conditions and can experience strong currents. Treat beach safety seriously and use lifeguarded areas when available. Pembroke and the surrounding countryside offer traditional inns and hotels from roughly £90, with higher-end coastal stays often exceeding £180 in summer.
Our final morning is deliberately quieter. Solva sits inside a narrow natural harbour, where colourful boats rest between steep green hills, and Lower Solva gathers around the water below. Start beside the harbour before wandering through the village's independent shops and cafes. Then climb. Footpaths above Solva reveal why this tiny settlement is such a fitting place to finish. From higher ground, the sheltered harbour suddenly appears small beneath you, while the Pembrokeshire Coast Path continues across cliffs in both directions. Walk one final section without trying to cover too much ground. 7 days ago we began among Tenby's colourful harbour houses. Since then we've followed cliffs and coves, walked to a beach hidden from the road, explored Britain's smallest city, sailed towards wildlife on Skomer, and stood inside the castle where a Tudor king was born. Pembrokeshire hasn't needed to manufacture attractions along the way. The journey has been held together by the coast itself. And perhaps that's the secret to travelling here. Don't try to conquer it. Follow it.
For a final lunch, stop at one of Solva's cafes or pubs, where a light meal generally costs around £12 to £20. If you're driving home after your walk, keep the final day deliberately short. Pembrokeshire's roads can be slower than the mileage suggests, particularly during busy summer periods.
Pembrokeshire doesn't need skyscrapers, theme parks, or world-famous city landmarks to compete for your attention. Its greatest attraction is the coastline itself, and the castles, wildlife, villages, and communities scattered along it. 7 days barely scratches the surface, but it might be enough to make you want to come back.
Any verified Get Your Guide experiences featured with this episode are linked in the description. If you enjoyed travelling through Pembrokeshire with us, like this video and subscribe to Traveller's Treasure Globe for another unforgettable journey. Until next time, happy travels.